I'd like to welcome you here. We had a little audio problem that's been solved, so we're ready to go. We have really an exciting announcement this morning to begin with, and I'd like to invite up initially Peggy Ehora, who is local community outreach public relations person for Dominion Gas, Peggy, and she has a number of her colleagues here to talk about a project that has been in the works for a while. Peggy, come up and introduce your team members.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. All right, we'll start off. I'll introduce the Dominion team that's with us today. I'll start at the front row and I'll work my way down. Bob Varley, who is working through some retirement right now, is a retired state policy, senior policy advisor for Dominion. My boss for many years. I just can't, we'll talk a little bit about his involvement in this, but he has been a true partner with us trying to work this Lima project through. Mike Reed is the general manager working out of 55th, responsible for Lima and responsible for our shopping project. Brenda Schimler, operations supervisor. Dan Steckschulte, operations supervisor. Tammy Joseph, who is our facilities person. Ty Lotz in the back row is the operations manager for the Lima facility. Matt Huffman sitting next to him is our esteemed legal counsel. And Alan Hemphill is going to be the project manager for the project that we're announcing today. So as the mayor indicated, this has been something that Dominion has been talking about. I'm going to back up a little bit and say, for 129 years, we have operated the gas operations of West Ohio Gas, West Ohio, East Ohio, Dominion East Ohio, West Ohio Shop, and then we've had many names, and people, as you know, call us all kinds of stuff, but we're the gas company. And for 129 years, we've operated in downtown Lima. The ladies and I were talking earlier, we have had a lot of buildings that some people may or may not remember. We had a credit office at 129 South Pierce Street. We had our headquarters at 319 West Market Street. We operated a credit lobby at 215 West Market Street. And about 14 years ago, we took all of our operations to 150 South Jackson Street, and that's where all of us have been working out of the Jackson Street facility for about the last 14 years. So over the past probably 10 or 15 years, the idea of remodeling the Jackson Street facility has been in the plans for Dominion. And Mike and his colleagues would come down and say, we really need to remodel West Ohio. It's very old. They have been working through remodeling of a lot of other shops, so we need to remodel West Ohio. Well, somewhere along the line, remodeling became, I think we really need to build a new facility here. We work out of multiple buildings on that site. Some of them have been there for over 100 years. And as you can imagine, any 100-year-old facility working a modern operations, they don't work well for us. So we piecemeal things together, and we have employees that operate out of different buildings. And so they said, let's build a new building. So in a perfect world, I guess on a perfect scenario, you would find a 10 or 11 acre piece of land and you would build a new facility. And those are really kind of hard to come by in the middle of a metropolitan downtown. So we looked outside the city. We talked about building a new facility someplace else. And at the end of the day, for 129 years, we've always been downtown. And so we talked to the mayor. We'd like to stay where we are on Jackson Street, and we've got to find a way to do that. And the biggest, probably the biggest deal breaker for us was vacating Jackson Street in front of our facilities. And so we said, if we can get that accomplished and we can acquire the land across the street from us, we think we can make this work. So for, I would say, the better part of the last year and a half, and I can show you guys can come up and see this afterwards, but this is our current facility. A lot of people driving down Jackson Street see this building right here as being our offices, but we actually operate all of our operations folks out of some of these other buildings. And so the plan was, let's build over on the east side of Jackson Street. We'll build a new building, and then we'll move everybody into the new building when we're done with construction, and we'll raise these buildings, and we'll move our parking lot over on this side, and we'll put our pipe yard that we store a lot of our pipe out at our 4th Street facility right now. We'll keep our fill station. We have a natural gas fill station and a gasoline fill station over here. We'll leave those things on this side of the street, but we'll move our employees over here. On this map, you can see everything that's highlighted in green are the lots that we had already owned. Because we've been down there for about 100 years, periodically over the years, when some of those lots would become available, we'd purchase them. We really hadn't done that in recent years because we really felt like we didn't have a need for it. We never were anticipating that we were going to build there. So the lots that are highlighted in yellow were the lots that we were going to have to acquire in order to get this project done. And so for about the better part of this year, Matt and his team have been working on acquiring those properties. We've been working with the city on some land bank properties. And as of a week or so ago, we had secured and had under contract all of the lots that we needed to make this project happen. Matt's going to be going this afternoon to talk to the Planning Commission to ask for their approval, and then they will send their recommendations on to City Council to ask City Council, which will be on June 6th, for the approval of the the vacation of Jackson Street. One of the real positives that we think has also come out of this is that the gas company is going to be partnering with the city on the relocation of Jackson Street. So you'll see on this map, the site map over here we'll talk about, but on this map here, where the light is at Market Street right now at Market and Jackson, the street will kind of curve over and then go over to Pine Street. So we did a traffic study about 6 or 7 months ago, looked at the traffic flow down Jackson Street. It's not really a primary street. It's more of a cut-through street for the underpass at Elm. But we know that we need to accommodate traffic between the school and some of the other, what we call regular traffic patterns down our street. So we are going to help the city relocate that street, and that project, I believe you'll probably address that, is probably going to be starting here in the very near future. We hope to break ground on our new facility, and this is just kind of a real conceptual drawing. We'll probably reveal the really true plans of the new building when we break ground this fall, but this is where we are now. This is where we're going to be. This will be pretty much all of the operational processes here are here, and then we have a garage down here. Like right now, most people probably don't realize we have a mechanic on staff who's working out of garage bays that have been there for 100 years. And so you have no means, with today's standards, with a big truck, with trailers and backhoes and the way that we move equipment, to be able to even pull those into a bay. To work on them or store them or whatever. So we have state-of-the-art garage bays down here. You know, because we are on the river, this is a bit of a floodplain down here. We'll have some detention down here. The other really nice part of this is we've purchased everything adjacent to the river. We're going to take the billboard down. We're going to clean up the landscaping along the river, and one of the most exciting things about this for me has been, with everything that's been happening along the Market Street corridor and all the things that are happening in downtown, and being a part of downtown Lima. We've been a partner of downtown Lima for as long as it's existed. With a new stadium park, and I guess for lack of a better word, for a yellow brick road that comes into the city of Lima, between the new park and the new high school and Road States project and possibly some other projects that are going on, we get to be a part of what is a renaissance of downtown Lima. And this is an $11 million project, and this is a huge investment, not just for Dominion and its employees, but it's a huge investment in the city of Lima, and we couldn't be more proud to be a part of it. So I don't think I missed any of the highlights, but okay. Anyway.
Bob, you want to take some more?
Thank you, Mayor. This is very short. Peggy covered it all. I just want to say thank you, Mayor, and Howard, and the other members of the staff who we started to meet with here and started through this project, and the cooperation we've received from the City of Lima. It's a great opportunity. It's for me, as Peggy mentioned, I'm retiring, and actually this is my last project, and so this is probably my last official time at the dais representing Dominion East Ohio. So I just want to say thank you, Mayor, and this is going to be it's a great project. It was a fun project to work on with the cooperation, and very happy for the employees here in Lima who are going to get a new facility, because they're the last ones. I think we've redone every other facility, and this is the last facility. That hasn't been necessarily by design, but as Peggy related, it's been a difficult road in trying to find the property. So thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Appreciate all your help.
Yep.
Mike, do you have any remarks?
Guys, you can't top that.
Well, I want to make some remarks, but also have Howard Elstro come up and talk about the city's involvement and what we're going to be doing as a part of the project. So, Howard?
I think Peggy did just a wonderful job explaining about the reinvestment by Dominion in the community, and I just want to reemphasize a couple of points and tell from the public works perspective and the city's perspective why this decision is so important. If I'm recalling my history right, the city of Lima was incorporated in about 1831, and back then there were much different needs for the community, and then there was a huge expansion of infrastructure in the 1900s, the early 1900s, the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And actually, the gas company was part and parcel of that expansion. Now we have and if you take a look at the infrastructure that was created at the turn of the century, that we are still using, as Peggy says, their gas lines and their presence here has been 100 years old. Well, now it's time to renew that infrastructure. And we're finding they find infrastructure is not serviceable. We find that our own infrastructure, our sewers, our streets, our water lines, also are in need of renewal. And this partnership that we have formed with Dominion, I think, is very significant. And I want to talk about the Pine-Jackson Street crossover that's planned. And I'm going to take a liberty with this and orient it to the north. For those who are viewing this, again, there might be some trepidation about taking Jackson Street and vacating it. And the planning that has been discussed now for months with Dominion leaves us with a solution that is better than what the existing is. And by that, I'm referring back to those remarks about the infrastructure that was built back in the 30s and 40s, catered to pedestrians, catered to a lighter traffic flow. The corners, if you can imagine, the corners at Market Street and Pine and Market Street and Jackson are very tight to negotiate, especially with a vehicle. And this crossover, what it allows is, thank you, it eliminates those tight turning radiuses. It accommodates the various traffic flows that we have seen because of development around the Dominion site and through the city of Lima. And I just want to take my hat off and tip it again to the Dominion family for looking not only to reinvest for their own needs inside the city, but also finding a solution that improves the infrastructure of Lima by widening streets, by rechanneling the traffic flow to make it better for all of our residents, all of our travelers, not only in the immediate future, but 25 years out, this will still accommodate the traffic flow much better than the existing. So thanks again. And again, I just want to emphasize this is a major investment by Dominion, as well as participation from the Public Works in the city of Lima. This project for this crossover will be in the approximate range of $500,000. And again, that will be for the construction of a street from Pine Street to Jackson. That will be allowing for sidewalks, curbs, gutters, the various storm drainage that is required for a new street. This will improve the traffic flow on Market Street as well as the Pine and Jackson Street that intersects. So it will move traffic better. It will affect the signalization at the existing corners, as well as a completely new road outfitted with streets, sidewalks, and the other amenities. So, and we are relocating some water and sewer. Currently, we are out in the field picking up the survey points. We will be doing the design in-house. We will be bidding the project out under the auspices of the City of Lima. We will be doing all the inspection work for the project under the city's auspices. Though Dominion is a very large player in helping assist with the cost, they are assisting in this $500,000 project to the tune of $300,000, and that's very significant, and we thank you.
Well, I want to tell some of the backstory because Peggy and Bob have been terrific advocates for us in this process. Peggy gave you the history, but some of that history involved the real prospect, the threat that, from my point of view, that the facilities would go outside the city. I think having Dominion remain in our community is enormously important for us and for the company. Peggy's advocacy locally and at up in Cleveland and perhaps even in Virginia, I don't know how far her voice carried, but she does, was very effective in making certain that the concern about outside the city versus a reinvestment in this neighborhood was heard. And as Bob mentioned, his role in helping us was critical, and I really appreciate the fact that he actually hung in there throughout the whole thing, right up to the very end. And so we're very grateful for the company's internal dialogue that took place and ultimately the decisions that have been made. I think that we're going to see an exciting project here, which will be a beautiful addition to the environment, will, as Howard mentioned, improve the street infrastructure, assist with the complete street approaches that we've been developing for pedestrians and bicyclists and all the other forms of transportation in our community, and at the same time really represent a significant investment in the business climate here. So with roads, with the housing projects that have been announced, with some other things that are happening in the downtown, I don't think Renaissance is an exaggeration. It's a real dynamic that's happening in downtown Lima, and we appreciate Dominion being a major investor and driver to this process. So thank you all very much. Somebody stole my notes.
I did.
Peggy.
You gotta watch it.
He knows.
I'm
I'm just gonna say don't.
That's all right. Ben is here from the YMCA for obviously an announcement about basketball. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Berger. Yeah, I'm Ben. I lead the health and wellness team at the YMCA, and I'm excited to announce that we're going to be starting adult men's basketball. We're going to kick off June 8th. One thing that I've learned since coming to Lima is that Lima loves basketball. And so we've been planning it for a while, trying to make sure that we had everything set up to do it and to accommodate it. And so the way that we set it up is we're going to do an 8-week season with a 2-week playoff. It is $500 a team. And if anybody would like to register, they just need to get with me. I'll go over the rules with them. And we're going to play Wednesday nights. We have 3 gyms and 3 hours set aside, actually 4 hours if need be. So we can hold a lot of teams. We're planning on a maximum of 8, and but you gotta register, and yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Very good. I've got a point guard for you.
Oh, nice.
Matt, are you ready? Oh, you're That's good. You actually were pretty good in your day. which was even as you were on council.
I play the city rec league 15 over softball now.
No basketball.
We probably have to know what kind of medical
We have liability, you guys have to sign on before you come in.
I was gonna hope that I could hold that properly.
Yeah. Connie Dershem's here from the Department of Community Development with an update on our citywide Pride cleanups, which will take a hiatus this weekend and
Right.
renew in June, right?
Right. A really quick update. The first 3 weeks of Citywide Pride, we have collected 38.45 tons of trash, 416 used car tires, and 17 cubic yards of brush. So the big word is no cleanup this weekend, but the final weekend is going to be on June 4, and we'll have 3 sites. One at Superior Credit Union on Allentown Road, one at Cross Point Church, North Main Street, and one on Harrison Avenue on the west side of the street, across from Meat City. So that's the last opportunity, and I encourage everybody to come out and make use of it.
Pitch in. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. It's a great effort, a great tradition of cleaning up our neighborhoods in the spring. We want to encourage people to take advantage of the free opportunity to get rid of their junk and their neighbor's junk, if possible. So, anyways, that's all that we have for today, but we'll break down for interviews. Thank you all for being here.